Okay, let me ask the first questions for three keynote speakers. Do you think people are scary AI development may hinder its progress? People are scary AI development may hinder its progress.
It should not be. It is, but it should not be. So AI is not that difficult. So actually, every day now, when you use WhatsApp and Google, you are actually using AI. The use of AI disappear. The application of it is a lot. So don't be scared. It's not that difficult at all. You don't need to know all the algorithm to understand AI. Don't worry. Just keep learning.
Test. Okay. Just maybe a quick example on this. Actually, it's really, really interesting. Yesterday, I read an article about some people that are running around in Silicon Valley and destroy autonomous cars because they're scared. That's something we've seen basically in the first industrial revolution. Yeah, when the first machines came out and the workers were running against the machines, destroying the machines, basically completely going into riots, right? However, there's an economic something that new technology brings actually just is a change of job. It's not of taking jobs away. It's basically a change of the skill set. So then we are coming back to Charleston's part of you need to learn, continuous learning, because the change of the skill set is more rapid nowadays.
Thanks. So I very much agree with what Charleston and Benny said. I think we should always be aware that maybe some of us are scared of technology, but it's not going to hinder its progress because other people are pushing it forward. So I think the important attitude to take is, especially because AI, being fueled by big data and cloud computing and all these powerful machine learning technologies, it's really disrupting many, many aspects of our world. I think as for our young generation, my encouragement is that AI is actually, it will bring a lot of benefit to our lives. As a researcher, I need to be very aware of the ethical use of AI. So for example, as you know, I work on voice conversion technologies, and it was found that, basically, we published a paper. It was given a Best Paper Award. There was a Korean engineer who, based on our paper, re-implemented our algorithm and put it on GitHub. And then someone played with it and found that it's actually able to use it to attack voice print biometric authentication systems. In some cases, you can actually break in. So then, that's an experimentation. So now I'm actually also working on anti-spoofing technologies. So I'm trying to develop technologies that can shield and protect, voice conversion technologies to be able to distinguish between true and converted voice. So I think as a researcher, I always remind myself that I need to think more carefully about what certain technologies can do. And we must, as humans, we must control AI. Therefore, I think there are two things you can do for young generations. One is, if you're really engineering, computationally oriented, you try to get into the field, and maybe you're one of the people who is going to innovate and produce new technologies. However, for others, I think it's good for us to have a good exposure of what AI can do, and then you can actually bring, like Charleston was saying, you bring computation, you bring AI into your own discipline. And you think about, you don't have to be an expert in AI, but you can think about what are the implications of the capabilities of AI in transforming your own discipline. Because I think that's where the world is going to head, no matter what. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, but I want to know more because Stephen Hawking said AI will destroy human. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with him? AI will destroy human?
I don't. Not at this point. I think, I think as a researcher, Well, you know, where our world goes is very much in our hands, right? Because we're human beings, right? This is our world. So where we're headed is very much in our hands. I think first of all, today, I have to say, today, AI is very good at pre-formulated problems. So if there's a well-formulated problem and the strategy of winning, the game or solving that task is known by the human, and we're able to program it, we're actually able to develop AI technologies that can even exceed, human performance. But what we want to do is to develop AI such that, I actually advocate the future of human AI symbiosis, where symbiosis means you have a symbiotic relationship, it's a mutual relationship, you help each other, it's a beneficial relationship. And we must be able to harness the power of AI. I think as a researcher, we must try to be very aware that we must harness the power of AI and use it for good. So I think that's why I think we must be, so let me just quote one more example. The self-driving car. Remember there was a fatal car crash, and when you read the news, there was some analysis into it, and it was because the driver was so confident about the car, he was reading, and the car was heading straight into a huge white truck. Now, the computer vision system often is trained on data. So what are the chances of getting data where you have a car heading towards a huge white truck? The computer vision system actually thought that it's not a white truck, but it's a cloudless white sky. So the car just crashed into the white truck, and therefore it was a fatal accident. But there are two counts. One is, that's why I emphasize on fit for purpose data. Big data is tough to harness, but if you train your computer vision system of the car, you must ensure that there are many aspects that are considered. Now, humans are very good because we can't control the frequency of occurrence of rare events, but our minds can oftentimes anticipate exceptional situations. And I think that's where human is still, superior, much superior to AI and big data. And I think that's why I say we must harness AI and its development for the better, for the good.
Let me give you a real example. So there's an app that you can try called Woebot, W-O-E-B-O-T, W-O-E-B-O-T, right? So it is actually using, it's developed by Andrew Ng, who's an AI professor at Stanford, to trying to address to one simple issue, that to help people to overcome the depression, right? So very simple. But I don't know whether you know, 40% of United States college students during the time of college, that they have some depression thought. 40%, 4 in 10, right? And my son, street mate at college, is a brilliant student. He killed himself, right? And when he was in the year 1, right? So and therefore it's actually a real problem. But what this application is trying to do is very simple. It's actually giving you very simple answer of customer services type of the counseling. So, and they will ask you some questions and trying to change your state of mind during that time. Just that time, right? And over time, when he uses AI to know more about you, he can give you a little bit more relief of your anxiety. And on top of that, by collecting all the response that other people have, it is going to improve. It's going to improve the AI, improve the response that they have. It is actually, if you want to try it, do try it. W-O-E-B-O-T. Now, if you look into it from a business point of view, it will be the future of customer services. So AI itself, the power of AI is not AI by itself. The power of AI is continuously they are making an improvement to help you and to know you better. Now, whether AI is going to destroy the world, I don't know. I'm not a good scientist at all. But I can tell you that in the meantime, we can benefit by using more AI in our day-to-day decision making.
Yeah, I pretty much see it the same way. I mean, in the history, even when you look again into the history a little bit, technology, like new technology, has always been connected to growth, right? And economic growth is prosperity for people, actually. When you look, for instance, when you look at China, yeah, the past 40 years are exceptional. It's never happened anywhere in the history to bring so many people out of poverty, yeah, and bring basically growing up middle class families. And that is due to technology also, yeah. And I don't agree with Elon Musk is saying the same, actually. He says, okay, AI is going to destroy the world. I doubt it. Another example would be when you look at the nuclear power, right? Nuclear power can be good, can be bad, yeah? Both things. When Oppenheimer was building the bomb, which was used in the war, and which is the bad side, but on the good side, it's also a clean way of energy, if you don't look at the whole life cycle, right?
Okay, you just mentioned China, but we all know China is becoming stronger and stronger. It's a big country. So do we agree China is an innovative country now? Just like they want to build a smart city, or maybe in Shenzhen or in Wuxi somewhere. Yeah.
Can I
do you agree?
Okay. Absolutely, 100%. I think Chinese people are extremely entrepreneurial. Extremely entrepreneurial. Yeah. I've never seen so many. 100%. Yeah, I've never seen so many people that have like a little shop there, a little side business there, tweaking here a little bit, finding a new business model here. It's extremely agile. What we say agile. It's already. I think it's already ingrained. I mean, it's already there. Yeah, definitely.
So I work in China for 10 years. So I go there all the time. So I will tell you that, number one, China is a very big country. So don't only look at Beijing, Shanghai, don't only look at Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Chengdu, Wuhan, Chongqing, Hangzhou. In China, there's a lot of poor people. A lot of poor people. Just yesterday, Chunwan Haiji, do you know how many people go home? 4 billion, 40 億人. 1/3 of all the people living in the city is actually go. As of now, 58% of population, of Chinese population, live in the city. So, and they need to go back to the home. So, and having said that, China is having a very big difference between the rich area versus the poor area. But I will tell you that you don't need to go look China. Go look at Shenzhen. I am telling you that, in my opinion, Shenzhen is, as of now, the most innovative geography location, cities in China. One thing that China working very well with AI was because of China have less respect for people data privacy. And in US, they have more governance around it. However, having said that, I work in China for 10 years. I will tell you that 10 years later, China will respect similar level of privacy as in China. It just, development economies take time to grow. Let me give you an example. I was in US. I was driving a rental car, and in my son's apartment, that he lived in an apartment, I went down to the car and I looked at the Google, and Google say, are you in that location parking your car? And technology can do that for you. The question is, AI is going to provide more and more of those data to tell you about what are the situation and how this situation can be changed. So China is an innovative company, particularly in AI, and among the other areas. But United States is still, in my opinion, the world-leading technology country.
Okay.
I think I agree with what Benny and Charleston said, especially when I look at the development of Shenzhen over the past 10 years. It's really amazing. I think because Charleston, at the note, they lead the students to Shenzhen every MAMC and every, in most of the activities. So I won't dwell on that. But that was, I want to share with you a very shocking experience I had in China not too long ago, just a few years ago. I must say, I think it's in the Chinese blood that there's really a thirst for learning and knowledge. Okay, so I was only in a certain city near a rather well-known university in mainland China for a conference. And so I actually have a PhD student who graduated from that school. And I said to my student, well, why don't you post on the student bulletin, e-bulletin, that I'll be there. And my conference runs until around 6, and I think there's a dinner, but I don't leave until the next morning. So if there are students who want to talk to me and find out more about Chinese university PhD programs, I believe that starting at 8:30 p.m. that night, I can just sit in my hotel and the cafe, in the lobby in the cafe, and they can come and see me. So no appointment. I figured that I'll just sit there, right? So what happened was, after the dinner, I went back to my hotel, and I was just sitting in a chair in a cafe. And then I saw a whole line of students lining up to speak with me. I mean, they were all lined up very tidily, and one by one they came up and asked me about the PhD program, what I do, what my department does, and so on, right? So I basically spent 15 to 20 minutes with each student. And I have to tell you, I was there until 1 a.m. And there was still a line, okay? So I was completely touched. And I said to the student, I said, I'm very sorry you had to line up and wait for so long, but I'm totally exhausted. But tomorrow morning, my car leaves this hotel at 9 a.m. to the airport. There's a car. But I'll be here at 7 a.m. in the morning. So at 7 a.m. in the morning, I went there again with my packed luggage. I sat there, and still a line, okay? All the way I was talking to these students one by one until I really absolutely had to leave, otherwise I'm going to miss my flight. So I say, sorry, I have to leave. You can send me email. But that was a shocking experience. And I think from that experience, I feel there's really a big urge from these students who are very eager to learn about AI, learn about big data and engineering, computation, and so on.
Okay, there's a student write down the question on Moodle, and the question is, what do you see the use of technology in monitoring surveillance everyday life? How does ethical use of AI that government and public should take notes on? Again, what do you see the use of technology in monitoring surveillance everyday life? And how does ethical use of AI that government and the public should take note on?
Okay, I'll take a shot. So there are all these cameras, right? We call it 天眼, right? Sky eyes. That they are surveillance cameras, right, on smart lampposts. I think who mentioned, maybe Mohammed talked about smart lampposts. At CUHK, we're also doing research in smart lampposts. But this is another experience. I actually run a joint lab, Tsinghua Chinese University joint lab in Shenzhen University town. And I've established that lab over 10 years ago. And at first when I go there, so there's the lab is on Tsinghua Shenzhen campus, and there's a hotel across the street. And my students will advise me, this was 8 to 9 years ago. They say, Professor Meng, in the morning, if you come, let us come to pick you up. And also in the morning, if you do your morning exercise, don't walk around the street. It's very dangerous because there's a lot of robbery and so on. And I said, okay, it's that bad. But once you get into the university town, you're okay. But now, there's no such thing. It's safe, it's very safe everywhere you walk. And the reason is because of these surveillance cameras. So people are very aware that they're being, filmed or video recorded. And I think so that's one good side. But of course, there's also, of course, the privacy issue. And today, the computer vision technologies today, they can actually monitor crowd behavior. They can actually do anomaly detection in crowd behavior. So all this can come from the surveillance cameras. Yeah.
Maybe giving a little bit comparison to, because we are a lot into Germany and manufacturing. And when I was first time in with a Hong Kong manufacturer over in Dongguan, we could see on each worker, you can see basically the performance. So each worker was tracked. Yeah, they had a camera system in the production, and they were really seeing how fast is he, how much errors is he doing, and like a machine basically. Yeah, something I've never seen that before. Yeah? We are not allowed to do that in Europe. We have like really strict privacy laws, especially for companies on the workplace. You cannot like look at people, and so that was a bit of a culture change. Yeah, I mean, a very different approach towards it. And the company I was talking about with, like optimizing and looking into Industry 4.0, for them, no problem. They didn't see that as a difficulty. Yeah, and even the technology development they want to go in the future, in looking at behavior of each worker, no problem. There's no sign of either a moral issue or of a, let's say, government issue, like by law. They were going forward with it, yeah, technology-wise. In Germany, you can't do it. Labor union will basically kill you, yeah. They will come up to you and they sue the company, yeah. So, just giving you a comparison on this. Yeah.
I'm sure you have been in London, right? 5 years ago, there's a statistic. Within the London downtown, there are over 1 million digital camera. It is actually true. So a lot of, in particular for the high sensitive area, that is actually the fact that they're actually doing all the surveillance. However, there are a number of body of research is doing by eliminating the personal data within that surveillance, including MIT professor Sandy Penland. So he's trying to do that. Now, from a surveillance point of view, they can actually use it to do counting of the people, not until that they really need to find that person, like 張學友演唱會, that you know the famous 張學友演唱會is the where people can actually go caught for the serial killer. However, I am going to say one thing that probably you guys doesn't like. In a developed country, it will go through a cycle of development, which what I see in China. So therefore, China will need to improve, and they need to know. They know that they need to improve. Don't ever think that they don't know they need to improve. So therefore, take time, be patient. But in the meantime, I just want to let you know that every time you use the internet, in particular when you type in all the information, everything you put it on the internet is public information and cannot be retributed back. Don't feel so, like, just, you remember that a lot of people hiring go to the internet to search for your information to validate. So be very, very careful what you put there, including the Instagram.
Okay, last question, and the Moodle again. And as a student in mass communication, how can big data, AI, and deep learning and those kind of stuff related to our major and related to our work in the future, like journalism, PR relationship, or advertising?
Well, I think Charleston gave an excellent example. Fake news versus true news, discrimination. The other thing is, if you want to have some kind of understanding of what the masses are thinking, like 輿情分析, those kinds of tasks are probably very relevant for students who are studying mass communication.
I'm asking a favor from all of you. So when you demand the integrity from the government official and all the other people, right? And you hold your accountability. In Hong Kong now, some of the news are just pathetically wrong, right? And there's not enough check finding. Now, we remember that in the future, you can still do manipulation of information to motivate people one way or the other. It is doable, right? In the future, it is less and less likely that you can do that. So please respect your profession. In the same way that I have my own governance about what technology, or the 34 students under my supervision, and I need to take care of them. That's my responsibility, and I do a professional job. In the meantime, I'm asking you guys, the future of the journalism, hold yourself the same accountability as you are holding other people in the high place. This is the only way we can keep this society better.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I'm as a reader, I'm not a journalist, right? I'm as a reader would rather read true news, real news, with a good sources, double-checked or triple-checked, and have the reality or see the facts than getting clouds or something that is not true.